Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you work your A game. A made no rains on the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you work your A game. A made no rains on the track.
I want to talk about TNA's relaunch. I don't know how much of you have seen. Have you seen at least some of the clips and stuff like that?
Clips. I've seen the clips online. I wanted to watch the show tonight, but I didn't get a chance because I didn't get home till just before the show started. So I'm gonna watch TNA for the first time in a decade. I'm gonna watch Impact for the first time since Taylor Wilde broke My Will to Live last spring, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I mean, I hear nothing but good things from our friends in the chat. So let's talk about the research.
Yeah, so what I got to say is I like everything they have done so far. There's been some decisions like booking that I wouldn't have made, but it's kind of, I find it hard to complain about stuff that's like on the undercard. Like, you kind of like what you were saying about Timeless Tony. Like if Timeless Tony wasn't the champion there, I probably wouldn't be so bothered by it, but she's like kind of in like one of their main female stars. But,
The problem with Tony is probably the most overstar in the company for the females right now. So
probably. So I thought that when TNA they did this relaunch that we were just going to see this influx of new talent that would just take the company over, and we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. They've brought in some new talent, but at Hard to Kill, every single person that won a match was from the Impact Wrestling era. They're just taking care of their own, right? And then they're bringing it. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" I'm getting some of the new talent, but they're going to come in and earn their spot. Like Xia Brookside, I just assumed that Xia Brookside would probably win the Ultimate X because she's brand new, and I honestly had never even heard of her before. And but she did. She came in, and Giselle Shaw won. Hammerstone came in to challenge Josh Alexander. One would think that if they had Hammerstone signed, that he would beat Josh Alexander, but no, Alexander won. Moose won the world title. Chris Sabin held on to the X Division title. Chris Bay and Ace Austin held on to the tag team title. So they're taking care of their own, and then they're starting to build stories for these new talents. So they really refreshed their roster. They brought in Nick Nemeth, who I think looks like he's going to be rejuvenated in this company. Between working here in New Japan and Game Changer Wrestling, he's got kind of his groove back, man. I'm excited to see what he does. I already said Xia Brookside. Look, I saw her wrestle tonight. She seems fine. They got the Grizzly Young Vets. I think they're very good. They're a lot better than I thought they were.
They are good.
You're talking to a guy that's seen exactly 0 episodes of NXT UK. So I judge them based off of their name, and it's a stupid fucking name. But you can't be the Grizzly Young Vets forever. But they and it's too like indie inside term like for a name. I just think it's stupid. But they're a very good tag team. And then they signed Kushida, they signed some other folks. The camera work is a lot better. Like the set looks amazing. The logos look great. They got sponsors now. Like the ring ropes they changed. They brought back Across the Line theme song. Like I think the whole presentation just looks so much better. And they killed it at the Pearl at the Palms, man. Like I thought that they weren't going to be able to sell that place out, but not only did they sell out the tickets they had on sale, they almost, for Hard to Kill, they almost got it up to capacity. They got like about 1,800 people in there, which is a record for Anthem-owned TNA. But they said it was the highest attended show in like 10 years for that company, and they broke their gate record for the last 10 years. And then to follow up, they ran the Palms the next night on Sunday night, and typically their houses dropped like 50%, but they actually kept about 75-85% of the audience from the night before and still had about 1,200 people in the audience the next night. So, man, these guys are doing great. I'm happy for them.
They're doing business-wise. It's been solid. I want to see them not put the title on Nick Nemeth because that would be a very TNA thing to do. I think that'd be a huge mistake to immediately anoint Nemeth as your champion when you just put the belt back on Moose, right? I think Nemeth needs to come in and eat a little shit, right? Right. They need to establish that Moose is our guy. They have to. They have to.
Yeah.
I hear we still can't white balance on the backstage stuff.
It was that an issue? I didn't. Oh, really? I didn't know. Like, so BQ said, I don't know if he said white balance, but said like lighting. The lighting was not great because they don't have like a full studio set up back there, so they're kind of filming in the hallway. So yeah, I think but it's not like that crazy. It's not that bad. I didn't think anyway.
Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room. What the fuck does elegance by Ash mean?
So it's Ash by elegance,
Ash
sir.
by elegance. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can assure everyone listening and watching the show that that this is nowhere near even resembling anything that Timeless Tony is doing. I think that's what people were worried about at first.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you see a blonde with a nice dress on, you think she's Timeless Tony. That's not what this was. So she is doing like a new gimmick where she's kind of like one of those girls from a perfume commercial. It's kind of what it looks like. So I don't know. I'm giving it time. The first like intro segment she did, I'm like on the fence about it. But here's what I will say. So this is Dana Brooke, by the way. Here's what I will say. She's not coming in being, Danny Brookside, or whatever, or Brookie Danison, and just being a version of what she was in WWE. Like, she's coming in and trying something new, trying out a new character and doing something completely different. And she signed here long term. So now the character might shit the bed. It might suck, but at least she's trying something different. She's not Dango.
Fair. Dango, terrible gimmick. Ash by elegance. It should be the other way around. It should be elegance by Ash. That would be a better perfume name. It's like the syntax is driving me crazy. The writer brain in me is firing. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. But is she still terrible is the question. Is she still awful in the ring?
She hasn't wrestled yet. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably the best move then possible.
Yeah.
I think
they're doing tapings in Orlando this weekend. I think she's got a match scheduled for Saturday, I think. But
where are they taping in Orlando?
Well, unfortunately, not the Impact Zone, which is where like old school TNA should be. But it's like in some type of, they've worked a place before when they used to do TNA stuff or Impact. I think it's Kissimmee, actually. Now that I think of it.
Orlando, Kissimmee, same thing.
Yeah, it's probably one of those places that fucking Eddie Graham used to run back in the day. I don't think this is a nice place.
Why don't they run the old soundstage? AEW's not. They were doing dark there for a while. Those are actually fun darks when they were running in the Impact Zone. Like now that AEW is not there, they should probably try to get the Impact Zone back.
Yeah, well, I don't think they should run there regularly, but I think going a couple times a year would be fun. Yeah, I think so.
If you're in Orlando,
yeah,
like why not run the Impact Zone? I mean, like it's the so like I like when AEW runs Daly's place, right? Because it's just I wish WWE would run the Manhattan Center, right? Because it just, to me, in my mind, that's Manhattan. That, I kind of like when too many companies run the 2300 arena and it looks nothing like the ECW arena anymore. So I don't have the love for that. It's like when companies run Cork, and like TNA should be running the Impact Zone, right? Like it just feels right, especially if you're in Orlando. Like I think Scott, you gotta fix that. As a TNA fan, like, are you happy with where we are right now in this relaunch?
As a TNA podcaster, let me just say that as a TNA podcaster, because as a fan, I had a very love-hate relationship with TNA, and I did not want them to go back to that name because I had such resentment against it. But I will say, as a guy that likes the show, as a fan, I'm glad that they're still doing that. It's still kind of Impact Wrestling, but they freshened up the look. They freshened up the logo. There's a ton of more energy in the company. And I think that's been the big thing that's been missing for a long time. Like, people are excited about it, and their fan base isn't going to grow much bigger than what it already is. But at least the people that like the show will be more energized by it. And it really came through the screen. Like, people were just excited and happy to be there, and they loved chanting TNA, and it just made the matches more fun to watch, right? Like, it wasn't a bunch of people. It's usually like the same 25 people going to these shows just sitting on their hands, right? And so no, it's like, wow, they're in this really beautiful theater with 1,700 people, and they're all going crazy, chanting their ass asses off and having a ton of fun. That's been the thing that's been missing with this company for a long time is energy. And I'm excited to cover it going forward. I'm excited for the new moves. I don't think they're going to go to Nick Nemeth because I don't think he's actually signed here. I think that I think he's got a handshake agreement to work a bunch of dates, but it wouldn't surprise me if this time next year Nick Nemeth is doing something else. That wouldn't surprise me. So I get the feeling he's wrestling Moose at like the April pay-per-view or something like that, though.
So I don't think you're wrong. I think we talk about this a lot with AEWs too, is like how you want more people in the crowd. I think having more people, it can be a bit overrated. Yeah, it's better for your bottom line, but like there's a lot of times like I'll watch WWE stuff and they'll have a big crowd and they cheer for entrances and then the match starts and they're like, and they don't react. Like I would much rather have 1,000 people in the crowd who are losing their shit. Like that comes across so much better on TV than a big arena where everybody's just where you have to sweeten the sound all the time. Like I think it's more important to make your show seem like an awesome place to be. Like those old Nitros, right? Like Nitro is so good about running small venues and have like these electric crowds. Like Nitro ran a show at the Mall of America that felt awesome. They used to run these shows. Club La Vila is the one that we always kind of remember, but they ran a few of those like clubs where it was freaking cool. Like they weren't all great. Like they weren't that the Daytona Beach show that was kind of the drizzling shit. And some of those hog wilds could be interesting. Brutal.
Yeah.
But they did a good job of making those cool venues be awesome. And a lot of times, especially when they were hot, they run a small venue where people were just like losing their shit because they're watching these awesome matches. So I think that for TNA, I think that's more important than anything right now, is making sure your audience is engaged and excited.
Yeah. And I think that that's what they did. And look, and they sold all those tickets with no storylines, no storylines whatsoever. And then on, for Hard to Kill specifically, they really didn't have any outsiders, right? Like they had Okada and Ospreay for the tapings the next night, but they didn't really, move any tickets immediately after the announcements were made. Like all these tickets were signed off or sold off of the excitement of basically, TNA and what it's going to be. And BQ was in the audience, and I had several other listeners that were in the audience, and everybody was just like, yeah, dude, like this is going to be badass going forward. Now we'll see where they're at 3 months from now. We'll see, how it all shakes out. But I really think that there's a good vibe in the company. I'm happy for them. I'm excited for them. And we'll see where it goes from there. And I guess I should talk about Dollar General AJ Francis. he came out to do it. I don't know if you saw JD. He came out to debut his new music video with DJ Who Kid, and he was interrupted by one Joe Hendry. And treated like a complete dork, geek, loser. That's the perfect way to treat Top Dollar. He thinks he's so fucking cool, and you treat him like a geek, and you got good television.
Yeah, Dave was mad about that this morning. He's like, why isn't he a monster? And I'm like, because he fucking sucks. That's why he's not a monster. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I posted that in the VOW Slack, and they're like, has Dave ever seen him wrestle?
Yeah. I mean, I get where Dave is coming from. You want this big guy who can talk. You think you want him to be like special, but nobody takes him seriously. Nobody but our buddy Scott. That's it. Everyone else thinks he's a joke. Like, I think it's perfect. Like, you had this dork debut his music video, so the perfect guy to come out and shut it is Joe Hendry. When I heard that, I'm like, that might be the best bit of booking Scott's ever done. It really, it's fucking brilliant. Honest to God, I wanted nothing to do with looking at Dollar General on this show. That's what we're gonna call him from now on.
That's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. AJ, fuck him. Who cares? He's Dollar General. Like, if I get to watch Joe Hendry do his lame, they're kind of lame, but they're always fun songs about how much of an idiot he like Dollar General is, I'm on board. I think there's no better use for the guy. I think for the rest of his wrestling career, people should just talk about how much he sucks.
Yes. And to his credit, he seems to have a pretty good sense of humor about all of it. So, good for him.
Yeah,